Once upon a time, in a small village nestled deep within the dark heart of a dense, ancient forest, there lived a young girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She was known for her vibrant crimson cloak, a gift from her grandmother, who lived alone on the outskirts of the village. Little Red Riding Hood loved her grandmother dearly and visited her often, bearing baskets of treats and company. One gloomy afternoon, under the ominous canopy of the forest, Little Red Riding Hood set out on her usual journey to her grandmother's cottage. The air was thick with foreboding, and the shadows seemed to whisper dreadful secrets. Her mother had warned her about the dangers of the forest, for tales of wolves and witches had haunted the village for generations. Still, Little Red Riding Hood was fearless, and her love for her grandmother compelled her onward. As she walked deeper into the forest, the trees loomed overhead, their twisted branches casting eerie silhouettes. The ominous silence was broken only by the distant hoots of owls and the rustling of unseen creatures. Her heart pounded in her chest, but she pressed on. Unbeknownst to Little Red Riding Hood, a wicked presence lurked nearby. The big bad wolf, a creature of darkness, had been watching her every move. Hungry and cunning, he devised a plan to deceive and devour the girl. Arriving at her grandmother's cottage, Little Red Riding Hood found the door slightly ajar. A sense of unease washed over her, but she entered, calling out to her beloved grandmother. There was no response. The room was dimly lit, and the air was heavy with an unnatural chill. She approached the bed, where her grandmother lay hidden beneath the covers. "Grandmother, what big ears you have!" Little Red Riding Hood exclaimed, her voice trembling. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," a raspy voice replied, and the covers were thrown back to reveal the big bad wolf, his eyes gleaming with malevolence. Terrified and trapped, Little Red Riding Hood watched as the wolf lunged, teeth bared and claws extended. In that moment of horror, she cried out for help, but her pleas fell on deaf ears, swallowed by the darkness of the forest. Days passed, and the village grew worried about Little Red Riding Hood's disappearance. Search parties scoured the forest, but no trace of her was found. The village fell into a deep sorrow, knowing that the forest held secrets darker than they could have ever imagined. As for the big bad wolf, he returned to the forest, his hunger satiated, but his appetite for darkness only growing. He continued to lurk in the shadows, waiting for the next innocent soul to wander into his sinister realm. And so, the tale of Little Red Riding Hood took a dark and twisted turn, leaving the village haunted by the memory of the brave girl who ventured too far into the forest and the malevolent.